Across the millennia of human history, one people has etched its mark not only through faith, but also with an unyielding, fiery intellect: the Jewish people. This isn't a narrative about inherent superiority. Rather, it's an epic tale of how relentless challenges, enduring traditions, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge forged a resilient scholarly spirit, transforming wisdom into a vital tool for survival and growth. The story of sacred texts and soaring intellect, the genesis from the page, the enduring foundation of the Jewish people. At the very core of the Jewish soul, the narrative of their intellect and resilience doesn't begin with grand inventions or resounding worldly successes. Instead, it's etched, stroke by stroke, on the yellowed pages of history. It originates from a profound faith and an eternal tradition: the transformative power of learning, particularly from two of their most sacred wellsprings, the Torah and the Talmud. These are truly the enduring foundation that has shaped the mindset, identity, and even the destiny of a people. Torah, the first light illuminating the soul. Our story begins at a distant point in time, when the echoes from the foot of Mount Sinai still resonated within the collective memory. It was there that, according to the unwavering belief of the Jewish people, Moses received the Torah directly from God. The Torah, or the 5 books of Moses, isn't simply a collection of laws or a chronicle. It's a living covenant, a divine blueprint for life, a comprehensive guide for humanity. Imagine a nomadic community amidst a harsh, desolate desert, lacking in every conceivable way. In that stark context, the Torah emerged like a refreshing spring in the wilderness, a guiding beacon in the darkest night. It not only taught them about just laws, but also about ethics, the relationship between humanity and God, and between people themselves, and the very meaning of existence. The Torah is an Etz Chaim, tree of life, to those who grasp it. Those who cling to it will find happiness. This isn't just a proverb, it's a living philosophy. Jews believe that holding on to and studying the Torah brings not just knowledge, but is the very source of life, meaning, and true happiness. Consider a poor Jewish man living in a small, isolated village in Eastern Europe centuries ago. He might have been materially poor, scorned by those around him. But each time he unrolled a Torah scroll and read the sacred words, he felt part of something vast and ancient, an inheritor of a millennia-old legacy. This imbued him with an inner dignity, an identity that no earthly power could strip away. The Torah also served as the Jewish people's portable home. When they were expelled from their homeland, exiled, and scattered across the globe, the Torah became the strongest invisible thread binding them together, regardless of differing languages, geographies, or local cultures. Every Jewish community, whether in Yemen, Poland, or Spain, possessed identical Torah scrolls, read in the same ancient Hebrew, and adhered to the same system of law. I'll offer an example to illustrate this point: the lifelong importance of Torah study. Learning the Torah didn't cease after childhood. Every Jewish man, from a busy merchant to a humble laborer, was encouraged to dedicate time each day to studying a portion of the Torah. Shabbat, Sabbath services in the synagogue, always revolved around the public reading and interpretation of passages from the Torah. Children were taught Hebrew from a young age so they could personally engage with these texts. Studying Torah was considered a mitzvah, a commandment, a good deed, a way to connect with God and perfect oneself. The Torah is the bedrock of morality, ethics, and law. It doesn't just provide rules, it shapes one's worldview, way of life, and interactions with the community. It instills an unshakable sense of purpose and identity, helping the Jewish people maintain their existence and distinctiveness through thousands of years of persecution and hardship. It is the lighthouse illuminating the path in the darkness of history, ensuring the flame of faith and culture never extinguishes. Talmud, the ocean of knowledge where intellect was forged. If the Torah is the first light and the map of life, then the Talmud is the ocean of knowledge, a profound, deep blue that the Jewish people have diligently plumbed and enriched. The Talmud isn't a book written overnight. It's the product of centuries of debate, analysis, and interpretation of the Torah and Jewish law, meticulously recorded by hundreds of great scholars. Imagine a group of jewelers tirelessly refining a raw gemstone. Each generation adds new facets and angles until it transforms into a sparkling, intricate diamond. That's how the Talmud was formed. The Talmud's unique structure is an endless debate. Each page is meticulously laid out. At the center is the Mishnah text, the core oral law systematized in the 2nd century CE, surrounded by countless commentaries, analyses, and debates by rabbis from various schools of thought in different eras. Picture a discussion about a seemingly simple issue. For instance, is a person permitted to do a certain act if it indirectly violates Shabbat law? Instead of a straightforward yes or no, the Talmudic page will present a vibrant, extended debate. Rabbi Akiva might say, intention is paramount. If there's no intent to transgress, there's no sin. Rabbi Meir might counter, no, the action itself has consequences, and even if unintended, responsibility must be taken. Rabbi Judah might add, what about this case, if someone performs the act while asleep? This debate continued for centuries, with rabbis in Babylon and Jerusalem adding more questions, rationales, and asides, as well as exceptions. I'll continue by providing an example. Lomdus, the art of profound Talmudic analysis. This is a characteristic method of Talmudic study that goes beyond simple reading and comprehension. It involves questioning the logic of every argument, seeking hidden contradictions, and constructing new theories to reconcile opposing viewpoints. Lomdus has honed high-level critical thinking skills, multifaceted analysis from every angle, the ability to synthesize complex information from various sources, and the capacity to build tight, convincing arguments. This why and what if mode of thinking is the root of innovation and breakthrough. It taught Jews not to accept everything at face value, but to always seek the deeper meaning. During periods of exile and persecution, when Jews were stripped of land, property, and power, the Talmud became their most precious asset, one that could not be stolen. It was a treasure trove of knowledge they carried in their minds and in their rolled scrolls. This focus on learning and intellect helped them maintain their identity, self-respect, and ability to overcome every adversity. A bridge across time and space. Studying the Talmud is a direct conversation with thousands of great scholars who lived across different eras and cultures. It fosters a profound sense of connection to history, to those who shaped the nation, creating a continuity of culture and intellect that nothing could break. Isn't just a piece of history. It's a powerful testament to the strength of education, to the profound respect for knowledge, and to an unceasing spirit of learning. The Torah provides the moral and spiritual compass, the initial light. The Talmud is the tool that sharpens the intellect, the ocean of analysis and debate. It is thanks to these two pillars that the Jewish people have built a robust foundation for their thinking, a foundation uneroded by time, unextinguished by persecution, and one that has produced great minds, contributing immensely to humanity's storehouse of knowledge. This is a story of how ancient texts became a wellspring of life, a force that shaped a people who rose from the page to touch the highest peaks of intellect. The community as a school, a global network of knowledge. Throughout a turbulent and challenging history, the Jewish people have built something remarkable that transcends all physical borders. A community that is, in itself, a colossal school, a vibrant, living network of knowledge spanning the globe. This isn't just a collection of buildings. It's a concept, a deep commitment to education and mutual support that has shaped the resilience and intellect of a people. The first home, family as the first lesson. The story begins with the very first building blocks of every Jewish person's life, the family. Before any formal schools existed, the home was the primary classroom, and parents were the first teachers. Absolute priority on education. In traditional Jewish families, studying the Torah and sacred texts was valued above any material possession. The saying often goes, if you only have enough money to buy a book or a good meal, buy the book. Knowledge was considered an indestructible treasure, something that couldn't be stolen and would accompany you wherever you went. Parents as inspirers. Jewish parents spent time reading scriptures with their children, telling them stories about rabbis and their people's history. They didn't just teach. They sparked curiosity and encouraged their children to ask questions. In the evenings, songs and discussions about the meaning of the Torah were an indispensable part of life, ingrained in a child's soul from a very early age. The family is the strongest foundation of the community school. It not only imparts knowledge, but also nurtures a love for learning, respect for wisdom, and a sense of individual responsibility toward academic tradition. This is where the seeds of knowledge are sown and carefully tended. The community classroom, a collective responsibility. As children grew, they entered the common school of the community, a place where learning wasn't just an individual endeavor, but a collective responsibility. From the Middle Ages and continuing to this day, Jewish communities, whether large or small, rich or poor, have strived to establish and maintain religious schools. Cheder. This was a basic school for boys, where they learned Hebrew, read the Torah, and gained their initial religious knowledge. Yeshiva. These were for older students who wanted to delve deeper into the study of the Talmud and other complex texts. Yeshivas often operated as a boarding system, where students lived and studied almost 24/7. Scholars were the most respected. In many Jewish communities, rabbis, clerics, and Talmid Chacham, wise scholars, were held in higher esteem than even the wealthy or powerful. People were willing to contribute money so that scholars could dedicate themselves to study, believing that the scholars' learning brought blessings and sustained the entire community. Imagine a wealthy Jewish man in a small village, instead of building a lavish home for himself, dedicating his money to building a Beit Midrash, house of study, or financially supporting young scholars. That was a true commitment to knowledge. The Jewish community built a self-sustaining academic ecosystem. Learning was not just a right, but a social and religious obligation. The respect for intellect created an environment that maximally encouraged academic development, where talented individuals were nurtured and supported, regardless of their background or circumstances. A global network of knowledge, the diaspora's unexpected gift. The dispersion of the Jewish people across the world, the diaspora, which seemed like a tragedy, inadvertently created a unique and powerful network of knowledge. Network of scholar exchange and correspondence. For centuries, Jewish scholars in Spain could exchange letters with scholars in Poland, Yemen, or Egypt to discuss an issue in the Talmud, answer a legal question, or share new discoveries. This created a continuous and global flow of knowledge, even before the internet existed. Imagine an ancient manuscript on a complex issue, recorded by a rabbi in Toledo, Spain, then copied and disseminated to a yeshiva in Frankfurt, Germany, and then further enriched with new analyses by a scholar in Safed in the Middle East. Knowledge was constantly circulated and enriched. The role of merchants and travelers. Jewish merchants, who frequently traveled between countries, carried not only goods, but also news, ideas, and most importantly, new books, copies of sacred texts, and lectures by renowned rabbis. This global network transformed the entire diaspora into a school without walls, where knowledge was not limited by geographical or political boundaries. It ensured that even when one community was destroyed, knowledge was preserved and developed elsewhere, able to be reborn later. It also encouraged diversity in thought and approaches to problems, as scholars from different cultures brought fresh perspectives. The Jewish concept of the community as a school, a global network of knowledge, is not just an idea, but a living reality proven over thousands of years. This is the story of a people who made learning the core of their identity, turned challenges into opportunities for intellectual growth, and transformed each individual into part of an ever-expanding academic network. This legacy not only partly explains the outstanding contributions of Jewish people in various fields of science, art, medicine, and business, it also serves as a profound lesson for all humanity. Education is not just the responsibility of schools, but the responsibility of every family and every community. When knowledge is valued, nurtured, and widely shared, the flame of intellect will never die out, and human potential will be fully unlocked. Beyond the limits, the unleashed flame. In the grand epic of the Jewish people, there's a particularly brilliant chapter where the flame of intellect, forged through millennia of scholarship, debate, and survival, finally found an outlet to burn brightly, transcending all limits and prejudices. This is the story of Beyond the Limits, the Unleashed Flame, a powerful testament to the strength of resilient spirit and the thirst for knowledge. The melting pot of change. For centuries, Jewish people lived in isolation and faced frequent persecution. They were forced into ghettos, denied civil rights, and excluded from many areas of society. However, from the late 18th century and throughout the 19th century, a new wave of thought, the Enlightenment, Haskalah, began to spread across Europe. This coincided with a gradual easing of regulations and oppression against Jews in some countries. These were the first doors to open, allowing the Jewish intellectual flame to find space to develop more freely. Imagine a large river constrained by dams and channels. Water has accumulated and pressure has built up. When those dams are gradually removed, the mighty current finds its way out and flows unrestrained. Similarly, centuries of accumulated knowledge, critical thinking, and adaptability created immense potential within the Jewish community, just waiting to be unleashed. The rise of Moses Mendelssohn, 1729 to 1786. He's considered one of the leading figures of the Haskalah. Although born into a poor family in the Berlin ghetto, Mendelssohn was self-taught, rising to become a great philosopher and writer of the German Enlightenment. He not only broke down social barriers, but also encouraged Jews to learn German and integrate into mainstream culture while maintaining their Jewish identity. Mendelssohn demonstrated that a Jewish person could be both a profound Torah scholar and a brilliant Western thinker. His very existence was a living declaration of the Jewish intellect's ability to transcend limitations. This period wasn't about losing identity. It was a strategic transformation. Jewish people didn't abandon their deep scholarly tradition, but rather leveraged it as a foundation to absorb and contribute to universal knowledge. They proved that knowledge is the most flexible asset, applicable anywhere, in any field.
A blaze of brilliance, contributions to the world. As barriers gradually lifted,
Jewish people, with their deep scholarly heritage from the Torah and Talmud, combined with critical thinking honed through centuries of debate, quickly excelled in every field. They didn't just participate, they led, bringing world-changing breakthroughs. Albert Einstein, 1879 to 1955. A name that needs no introduction. This brilliant physicist who developed the theory of relativity completely changed how we understand space, time, and energy. He is a symbol of groundbreaking thinking, moving beyond accepted frameworks. Sigmund Freud, 1856 to 1939. The father of psychoanalysis, who opened an entirely new door into the complex world of the human mind. His theories, though controversial, revolutionized the fields of psychology and psychiatry. Paul Ehrlich, 1854 to 1915. A German Jewish medical scientist and immunologist who won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1908 and is considered a pioneer in chemotherapy. Franz Kafka, 1883 to 1924. One of the most influential writers of the 20th century, whose works explore alienation, anxiety, and the absurdity of existence. Karl Marx, 1818 to 1883. A great thinker who developed Marxism, profoundly influencing philosophy, economics, and politics. Anne Frank, 1929 to 1945. Though her tragic life ended too soon in the Holocaust, her diary became a global symbol of the human spirit's strength and the horrors of war, a literary work of profound significance. The Rothschild family, one of the wealthiest financial dynasties in history. They built transnational banking and financial networks from the 18th century onward, demonstrating supreme financial management and strategic thinking. This intellectual explosion was not accidental. It was the result of a solid academic foundation spanning millennia, where critical thinking and complex problem-solving abilities were nurtured. When social barriers broke down, the minds honed in the ghettos and yeshivot found a free environment to develop their full potential, bringing immense benefits to all humanity. Resilience in the face of darkness. The post-Holocaust era. The story of Beyond the Limits wouldn't be complete without mentioning its most brutal challenge, the Holocaust. This horrific event claimed the lives of 6 million Jews, destroyed countless communities, and seemed intent on extinguishing their intellectual and cultural flame. Yet, miraculously, that flame never died out. Recovery and contributions after the Holocaust. After the terrible tragedy, surviving Jews, though bearing indelible scars, continued to rebuild their lives and contribute to the world. The establishment of the State of Israel, a tiny nation that has become a hub of technological innovation, is a powerful testament to this. Silicon Valley and high technology. Many Jewish individuals have become pioneers and leaders in the high-tech industry, especially in Silicon Valley. For example, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, co-founders of Google, Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, Michael Dell, founder of Dell Computers, and others. These figures, while not all strictly observant Jews, are products of a culture that highly values learning, innovation, and critical thinking, honed over generations. The Jewish intellectual flame has proven that it cannot be extinguished by oppression or genocide. Even after horrific losses, the will to learn and contribute to humanity burned even stronger. This demonstrates that knowledge and spirit cannot be destroyed by physical violence. On the contrary, they become an internal source of strength to overcome adversity and rebuild. A timeless lesson. The Jewish story of Beyond the Limits, the Unleashed Flame, is an anthem to the power of human intellect. It's not a miracle, but the result of a long process. a solid academic foundation from the Torah and Talmud, the cultivation of critical thinking in scholarly environments, extraordinary adaptability in harsh circumstances, and a community that consistently valued knowledge. That intellectual flame has illuminated not only the Jewish people, but all of humanity, bringing scientific discoveries, artistic works, revolutionary ideas, and technological breakthroughs. It's a powerful reminder that when humans are freed from limitations and empowered to learn, think, and create, their potential is boundless. The ever-burning flame. How the Torah and Talmud sustained the Jewish people. In the ever-changing tides of history, as countless civilizations rose and fell, and numerous peoples faded into oblivion, the Jewish people have stood firm, resilient, and vibrant. This extraordinary endurance isn't just a historical miracle. It's a powerful testament to the strength of two magnificent pillars, the Torah and the Talmud. These aren't just books tucked away on shelves. In the heart of the Jewish people, the Torah and Talmud are truly their breath, the fresh air they inhale every day, nourishing their souls and minds. Every word, every teaching, every complex debate from those ancient pages has permeated their bloodstream, shaping how they think, how they live, and how they face the world. They are the oxygen for their intellect, helping them constantly ask questions, analyze deeply, and seek meaning in every aspect of life. They are the heartbeat, a relentless drum, keeping the heart of the Jewish nation strongly beating, despite persecution, genocide, and exile. When their land was seized, when their temples were destroyed, when their voices were silenced, the sounds of studying Torah and Talmud still echoed in secret basements and makeshift homes. This heartbeat wasn't just mere survival. It was an affirmation of identity, a declaration of unwavering faith that knowledge and belief are the most precious assets, something that can never be stolen. And above all, they are the lifeline, the blood flowing through generations carrying intellectual, ethical, and cultural heritage from ancestors to descendants. This flow constantly renews and regenerates, transmitting not only knowledge but also an unending spirit of learning, a yearning for justice, and extraordinary adaptability. This lifeline has nurtured great minds, compassionate hearts, and resilient souls that have contributed immeasurably to the advancement of humanity. For these reasons, the Torah and Talmud are not merely history or tradition. They are the immortal soul of the Jewish people, a living symbol demonstrating that the importance of knowledge lies not just in accumulating information, but in its ability to shape a nation, help them overcome all storms, and become a vibrant testament to the eternal power of scholarship and faith. As long as those pages are opened, studied, and debated, the intellectual flame of the Jewish people will continue to burn brightly. The story of the Jewish people's journey of learning and intellect is a powerful reminder. Intelligence isn't some inherent gift given to only a select few. It's a capability that can be nurtured, trained, and developed through a persistent tradition of learning, the ability to adapt to challenges, and a societal environment that values knowledge. It's a story about the resilience of the human spirit and how knowledge becomes a guiding beacon that leads the way through all of history's storms.